If you're over 60 and planning to rely on Social Security, you need to hear this. New proposals could slash your benefits by up to 23%, and most retirees aren't prepared. Let me repeat that. A single change in Washington could mean losing nearly a quarter of your monthly income every year for the rest of your life. For seniors with substantial savings, this isn't just about pinching pennies. It's about protecting the lifestyle and legacy you've worked decades to build. The longer you wait to understand these changes, the fewer options you'll have to safeguard your retirement. In my 3 decades of guiding retirees through complex Social Security decisions, I've seen how devastating these policy shifts can be. After analyzing thousands of retirement plans, I can tell you, the most successful retirees act before the headlines hit. This is educational content designed to help you make informed financial decisions based on 2025 regulations, which are subject to annual changes. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your unique situation. And remember, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Today, I'll reveal the specific changes threatening your benefits and, more importantly, the proven strategies my clients use to minimize the impact. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect your income and avoid costly surprises. What I'm about to share could make all the difference for your financial security. But first, let me show you the critical warning sign most retirees miss. Pay close attention because missing this could cost you thousands. Part 1. The looming Social Security crisis. What every retiree needs to know. Let's take a moment to face a reality that's becoming impossible to ignore. If you're like most Americans over 60, you've spent decades working, saving, and planning for a retirement that's stable and secure. You've probably counted on Social Security to be a steady, reliable pillar of your retirement income. After all, that's what it was designed for. But here's the hard truth. The Social Security system is under more pressure now than at any time in its history, and the consequences could be devastating for millions of retirees, especially those who have done everything right. In my 30-plus years of guiding seniors through retirement transitions, I've seen the landscape shift dramatically. But nothing compares to what we're facing today. According to the latest Social Security Trustees report, if Congress doesn't act, the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be depleted by 2033. That's approximately 8 years away. Let me repeat that for emphasis. By 2033, just 8 short years from now, the OASI Trust Fund could run dry, while the combined trust funds would be depleted by. What does this mean for you specifically? When the trust fund is depleted, Social Security will be forced to pay out only what it collects in payroll taxes each year. The math is simple and sobering. That would result in an immediate cut to benefits of up to 23%. For a retiree receiving $2,000 per month, that's a sudden drop to about $1,540. Over the course of a year, you'd lose nearly $5,500. Over a 10-year retirement, that's $55,000 gone. Money you may have been counting on to cover health care, housing, travel, or to help your grandchildren with college. Let's put this into perspective. The average American retiree today receives about $1,800 per month from Social Security. If the 23% reduction becomes reality for OASI beneficiaries, or 19% if Congress combines the trust funds, that monthly check drops to roughly $1,386. For couples, the loss can be even more significant, potentially over $10,000 per year. And for those with higher lifetime earnings, the dollar impact is even larger. Even if you've built substantial retirement savings, this kind of unexpected income shock can force you to make painful choices, like delaying travel, downsizing your home, or drawing down your nest egg much faster than planned. Now, you might be thinking, I've saved diligently. I have a 401k, maybe a Roth IRA, and I'm careful with my spending. Surely I'm protected. But here's what many retirees don't realize. Social Security isn't just a monthly check. It's the foundation that supports your entire retirement plan. When that foundation cracks, everything else is at risk. Many of the most successful retirees I've worked with over the years have found that a sudden reduction in Social Security benefits can trigger a domino effect, forcing them to take larger withdrawals from their investments, exposing them to higher taxes, and even causing them to outlive their savings. The urgency here cannot be overstated. According to a recent AARP survey, nearly 60% of Americans over 60 say they couldn't get by without Social Security. Yet, most people are unaware of just how close we are to a major cut. In fact, only 1 in 4 retirees have a written plan for how they would handle a 20% or greater reduction in benefits. That means millions of people are heading into retirement with a false sense of security, completely unprepared for a change that could happen in just a few years. And it's not just about the monthly check. A cut in Social Security benefits can have ripple effects on your Medicare premiums, your tax situation, and even your ability to leave a legacy for your loved ones. For example, if you're forced to take more from your IRA or 401k to make up the difference, you could push yourself into a higher tax bracket. That means more of your hard-earned money goes to Uncle Sam and less stays in your pocket. Plus, higher income can lead to increased Medicare Part B and Part D premiums, sometimes costing hundreds of dollars more each year. Let me share a real-world scenario I've seen play out with clients. A couple in their early 60s, both with strong earnings histories, planned to retire at 67. They expected to receive a combined Social Security benefit of about $4,200 per month, or $50,400 per year. If a 23% cut were to take effect, their annual benefit would drop by more than $11,500, enough to cover a year of out-of-pocket healthcare expenses or several years of property taxes on their home. When we ran the numbers, even with $800,000 in retirement savings, they would run the risk of depleting their assets 7 years sooner than planned, simply because they had to fill the Social Security gap with their own funds. It's a sobering reality, and it's one that many financial advisors aren't talking about openly. In my experience, too many professionals assume Congress will fix Social Security at the last minute, or they downplay the risk to avoid alarming clients. But as someone who's helped thousands of retirees navigate turbulent markets and shifting policies, I can tell you, hope is not a strategy. The sooner you prepare for this possibility, the more options you'll have to protect yourself, your spouse, and your legacy. You might also be surprised to learn that Social Security is already under strain. In 2023, the program paid out $147 billion, more than it collected in taxes. That shortfall is being made up by drawing down the trust fund, which is why the projected depletion date is moving closer every year. And while there are proposals in Congress to shore up the system, ranging from raising the retirement age to increasing payroll taxes, none of these solutions are guaranteed. In fact, political gridlock makes it more likely that retirees will bear the brunt of any shortfall. So, what can you do? The first step is to recognize the risk and take it seriously. That means stress testing your retirement plan for a 23% reduction in Social Security benefits. It means looking at your 401k and IRA withdrawal strategies, considering Roth conversions to reduce future taxes, and exploring ways to optimize your claiming strategy to maximize your benefits for as long as possible. It also means being vigilant about scams and misinformation, because whenever there's uncertainty, there are always those looking to take advantage of retirees. Let me be absolutely clear. This is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Every retiree's situation is unique, and you should consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any decisions. No one can guarantee what Congress will do or how the markets will react, but by understanding the risks and preparing now, you can put yourself in the best possible position to weather whatever changes come your way. So far, we've covered the magnitude of the problem, the real numbers behind the looming Social Security crisis, and the urgent need for action. But here's what most financial advisors won't tell you. There are proven, practical steps you can take right now to protect your income. minimize your tax exposure, and ensure your retirement stays on track, even if the worst-case scenario becomes reality. The solution is simpler than you think, but most people get it wrong. Part 2. The foundation for securing your retirement. Building a Social Security buffer. Now that we've laid out the reality of the looming Social Security cuts, let's shift our focus to what you can actually do about it. In my 30-plus years of guiding retirees just like you, I've learned that the most successful transitions happen when people take proactive, deliberate steps before the crisis hits. So, let's talk about the core strategy that protects your retirement income, even if Congress doesn't act in time. The foundation of this approach is something I call the Social Security buffer strategy. Simply put, this means creating a financial cushion that can absorb a sudden loss of Social Security income without forcing you to make drastic, painful changes to your lifestyle. The goal isn't to replace every dollar that could be cut, but to ensure that your essential needs, housing, healthcare, food, and transportation, are covered no matter what happens in Washington. Why does this work so well for seniors, especially those with substantial retirement savings? Because you're in a unique position. You've already built up resources, perhaps a healthy 401k or IRA, some Roth savings, or even a paid-off home. You have the flexibility to shift your withdrawal strategy, adjust your investment allocations, and make tax-smart moves that younger workers simply can't. Most importantly, you have the experience and discipline that comes from a lifetime of managing your finances. Let me give you a real-world example. A couple I worked with, both in their early 60s, were worried about the exact scenario we're discussing, a potential 23% cut to their Social Security benefits. They had about $1.2 million in combined retirement savings and a modest pension. Instead of ignoring the risk, they decided to build a Social Security buffer by setting aside 2 years' worth of essential expenses, about $90,000, in a highly liquid, low-risk account. This wasn't just an emergency fund, it was a dedicated buffer against Social Security volatility. We reviewed their budget line by line, identified the true must-haves, and made sure that even if their monthly Social Security check dropped by $1,000, they wouldn't have to dip into their long-term investments or make knee-jerk decisions. The results? When the market took a dip in 2022, and as news about Social Security's future became more uncertain, they felt confident. They didn't have to sell investments at a loss or worry about covering their Medicare premiums. Their buffer gave them the peace of mind to ride out the storm, knowing their core needs were protected. Another client, a single retiree with $650,000 in savings, took a slightly different approach. She was concerned about taxes and the impact of higher withdrawals if Social Security was cut. Together, we restructured her withdrawals to prioritize her Roth IRA in the event of a benefit reduction. This way, if she needed to make up the difference, she could do so without bumping herself into a higher tax bracket. She also delayed claiming Social Security until age 70, which increased her benefit by about 8% per year she waited, up to a maximum of 32%. This gave her a larger monthly check and more room to absorb a potential cut. When she ran the numbers, even if benefits were slashed by 23%, she'd still have more income than if she'd claimed at 62. These are not one-size-fits-all solutions. But the principle remains the same. By building a Social Security buffer and optimizing your withdrawal strategy, you can take control of your retirement destiny rather than leaving it to the whims of Congress. Why does this approach work so well, especially for those over 60 with significant assets? First, it acknowledges that Social Security is just one piece of your retirement puzzle, not the whole picture. By stress testing your plan for a benefit cut, you're not just preparing for the worst, you're also uncovering opportunities to be more tax efficient, to minimize investment risk, and to preserve your legacy for your loved ones. Second, this strategy leverages the unique advantages seniors have. For example, if you're over 59 and a half, you can withdraw from your IRAs and 401ks without penalty. If you're already on Medicare, you can use your buffer to cover rising premiums or out-of-pocket costs rather than scrambling to adjust your budget. And if you have a Roth IRA, you have tax-free access to funds that won't increase your taxable income or Medicare premiums. In my experience, the wealthiest and most financially secure retirees are those who plan for uncertainty. They don't assume that Social Security will stay the same forever. Instead, they ask, "What if?" and then put plans in place to protect themselves. Industry insiders know that even a small buffer, say $30,000 to $50,000 set aside, can make the difference between a comfortable retirement and one filled with anxiety. Let's not forget about the psychological impact. I've seen retirees lose sleep over news headlines, worried that every political debate in Washington could upend their plans. But those who have built a buffer, who've stress-tested their withdrawal strategy, and who know exactly where their income will come from, even in a worst-case scenario, are the ones who sleep soundly at night. They're not panicked by market swings or political uncertainty because they've taken the time to prepare. It's important to pause here and remind you, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Your situation is unique, and you should always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any changes to your retirement plan. No one can predict exactly what Congress will do or when. But what we do know, historically and from years of experience, is that those who prepare for uncertainty are far more likely to thrive, no matter what comes next. So far, we've talked about the need for a Social Security buffer and why it's so effective for seniors with substantial savings. We've looked at real-life examples of retirees who've weathered uncertainty by building flexibility into their plans. Now let me show you exactly how to implement this in your own life, step by step, with specific numbers and timelines, so you can move from worry to action with confidence. The solution is simpler than you think, but most people get it wrong. Now, let me show you exactly how to implement this. Part 3. Step by step, how to build your Social Security buffer and protect your retirement income. Now that you understand the importance of a Social Security buffer, let's get practical. In my 30-plus years of helping retirees navigate uncertain times, I've learned that the difference between worry and confidence is a clear, actionable plan. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that many successful retirees use to shield their income, even if benefits are cut by 23%. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Your situation is unique. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making changes. But these steps are the proven building blocks that have helped thousands of seniors create peace of mind and financial security. Let's start with the most important step. Calculate your essential expenses. This is the foundation. You need to know, down to the dollar, what it truly costs to maintain your standard of living each month. In my experience, most retirees underestimate this number, sometimes by as much as 20%. So, pull out your most recent bank and credit card statements and add up your must-haves: housing, utilities, groceries, insurance premiums, healthcare costs, transportation, and any recurring expenses you can't live without. For most seniors, this number falls between $3,000 and $5,000 per month, or $36,000 to $60,000 per year. Let me repeat that. Knowing your true essential expenses is the single most important number in your retirement plan. If you haven't done this exercise in the last 12 months, now is the time. Once you've got your essential expense number, step 2 is to estimate your Social Security benefit after a 23% cut. Go to the Social Security Administration's website or review your most recent benefit statement. If you're expecting $2,000 per month, a 23% reduction would bring that down to $1,540. For couples receiving $4,000 per month, you'd be looking at $3,080. Multiply that new monthly benefit by 12 to get your projected annual income. The gap between your essential expenses and your reduced Social Security check is the amount you'll need to cover from other sources. For example, if your essential expenses are $4,200 per month and your post-cut Social Security benefit is $3,080, you have a monthly gap of $1,120 or $13,440 per year. Step 3 is to create your Social Security buffer. The most effective way I've seen retirees do this is by setting aside at least 12 to 24 months of your income gap in a safe, highly liquid account. This could be a high-yield savings account, a money market fund, or a short-term CD ladder, anywhere your principal is protected and you can access funds quickly. For the example above, if your annual gap is $13,440, a 2-year buffer would be $26,880. If you want even more peace of mind, consider a 3-year buffer, $40,320. Many of the most successful retirees I work with prefer to err on the side of caution, especially if they have substantial savings. Remember, this buffer isn't about maximizing returns, it's about security and immediate access. Historically, retirees who keep this buffer separate from their investment portfolio are less likely to panic sell during market downturns or make emotional decisions. Step 4 is to optimize your withdrawal strategy. This is where your retirement savings, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, and taxable accounts come into play. The key is to fill the income gap in the most tax-efficient way possible while minimizing risk to your principal. Many retirees find that starting with withdrawals from taxable accounts can help manage taxes while using Roth IRA withdrawals to avoid bumping into higher tax brackets or triggering increased Medicare premiums. For example, if you need to cover a $1,120 monthly gap, you might withdraw $600 from a taxable brokerage account and $520 from a Roth IRA. This split approach can help keep your taxable income below critical thresholds, like the $212,000 modified adjusted gross income limit for married couples, which triggers higher Medicare Part B premiums in 2025. In my experience, retirees who coordinate their withdrawals with an advisor can often save between $2,000 and $5,000 per year in taxes and premiums. Step 5 is to review and adjust annually. Life changes, expenses fluctuate, and tax laws evolve. The most successful retirees I know revisit their buffer and withdrawal plan every year, often in November or December before the New Year's tax brackets and Medicare premiums are announced. This annual check-in gives you the flexibility to adjust for inflation, rising healthcare costs, or unexpected expenses. It also lets you take advantage of new opportunities like Roth conversions in low-income years or shifting more funds into safer investments as you age. I've seen retirees who make this annual review a habit build far more confidence and resilience, even when the headlines are scary. Now, let's address some common concerns I hear from seniors every day. What if you don't have enough savings to build a full 2 or 3 year buffer right now? Start with what you can. Even 6 months worth of your income gap, say $6,720 in our earlier example, can provide a crucial safety net. The important thing is to begin and to build over time. What if you're worried about inflation eroding your buffer? Consider using a high-yield savings account, which currently pays between 4% and 5% annual interest, or a ladder of short-term Treasury bills, which are backed by the U.S. government. These options offer a blend of safety and a modest return to help keep pace with rising costs. Another common question: should I delay claiming Social Security to increase my benefit? For many retirees, waiting until age 70 can increase your monthly benefit by up to 32% compared to claiming at 62. If you have the resources to delay and your health allows, it's often a powerful way to build a larger, more resilient foundation. But this decision is highly personal and depends on your health, family history, and other income sources. Always consult with a qualified advisor before making this move. Finally, let's talk about health care. Rising Medicare premiums and out-of-pocket costs can quickly eat into your buffer. That's why I recommend including an extra 10% to 15% cushion in your calculations to cover unexpected medical expenses. For example, if your projected income gap is $13,440 per year, add $1,344 to $2,016 for healthcare surprises. In my experience, this small adjustment has saved many retirees from having to dip into their long-term investments during a health crisis. Let's pause and recap. So far, you've learned how to calculate your essential expenses, estimate your reduced Social Security benefit, build a buffer with specific dollar amounts, optimize your withdrawals for taxes and Medicare, and review your plan every year. These steps aren't just theory. They're the same practical, proven actions that have helped thousands of retirees protect their income and sleep better at night. But before you take action, you need to avoid these critical mistakes that could undo all your careful planning. I've seen even the most diligent retirees fall into costly traps, sometimes losing tens of thousands of dollars in the process. Let's make sure you're not one of them. Before you do anything, avoid this costly mistake. Part 4. Costly mistakes that can derail your retirement and how to spot them early. You've taken the time to calculate your essential expenses, estimate your reduced Social Security benefits, and even started building a buffer to weather potential cuts. That's a strong foundation. But I want to be absolutely clear. After more than 30 years working with retirees, I've seen even the most careful planners fall into traps that can cost tens of thousands of dollars, or worse, jeopardize their long-term financial security. The truth is, it's not just about what you do right. It's about avoiding the expensive mistakes that can quietly erode your savings and peace of mind. Let's walk through the most common pitfalls I've seen so you can recognize the warning signs and steer clear of trouble. And remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any changes to your plan. The first and perhaps most dangerous mistake is failing to stress test your retirement plan for a Social Security cut. Many retirees assume that because they've saved diligently, maybe $500,000, $1 million, or more, they're immune to changes in Social Security. But here's what I've seen over and over. Even a 23% cut can force you to withdraw an extra $10,000, $20,000, or more per year from your savings. Over a 10-year period, that could mean depleting your nest egg $108,000 to $200,000 faster than expected. The warning sign here is overconfidence. If your retirement plan hasn't been updated in the past year to reflect a possible benefit reduction, you're at risk. Industry insiders know that the most successful retirees run what-if scenarios every year, so they're never caught off guard. The second costly pitfall is using the wrong accounts to fill your income gap. I can't tell you how many times I've seen retirees default to withdrawing from their 401k or IRA without considering the tax consequences. For example, if you need to replace $12,000 a year in lost Social Security and take it all from a traditional IRA, you could easily push yourself into a higher tax bracket. That doesn't just mean more taxes. It could also trigger higher Medicare Part B and Part D premiums, which can jump by $800 or more per year for a married couple in 2025. I've seen retirees lose $15,000 to $25,000 over a decade simply because they didn't coordinate their withdrawals across taxable, tax-deferred, and Roth accounts. The warning sign here is a set-it-and-forget-it withdrawal plan. If you're not reviewing your distribution strategy annually, you could be leaving thousands on the table. A third mistake, and one that's become more common as scammers get more sophisticated, is falling for Social Security-related scams or misinformation. Every year, the Federal Trade Commission reports tens of thousands of complaints from seniors who've lost money to fraudsters posing as Social Security officials. The average loss, over $1,200 per incident, but I've personally seen clients lose $10,000 or more when scammers convince them to verify their account or pay a bogus fee to protect their benefits. The warning signs here are unsolicited calls, emails, or letters asking for your Social Security number, banking details, or payment. Remember, the Social Security Administration will never threaten you or demand immediate payment. If you receive a suspicious message, hang up and call the official SSA number directly. The most successful retirees I work with have a simple rule: never share personal information unless you initiated the contact. The fourth pitfall is neglecting to update your estate plan and beneficiary designations. This might not seem directly related to Social Security, but here's what happens. When retirees are forced to withdraw more from their accounts to cover a benefit cut, they often forget to adjust their estate plans. This can lead to unintended tax consequences for heirs or assets passing to the wrong people. For example, if you're withdrawing an extra $15,000 a year from your IRA, that could leave less for your children or grandchildren and may even push your estate into a higher tax bracket under current laws. The warning sign is outdated documents. If you haven't reviewed your will, trust, and beneficiary forms in the last 2 years, you could be setting your family up for a costly surprise. Industry insiders know that a simple beneficiary review can save tens of thousands in taxes and legal fees. Let's take a moment to consider the financial impact of these mistakes. Imagine a retiree who hasn't stress-tested their plan, withdraws an extra $20,000 a year from an IRA to cover a Social Security cut, and ends up in a higher tax bracket. Over a decade, that could mean $40,000 or more in extra taxes and Medicare premiums alone. Add in a scam loss of $5,000 and an outdated estate plan that costs heirs another $15,000 in legal fees, and you're looking at $60,000 or more lost, not because of bad investments, but because of avoidable mistakes. Let me repeat that. It's not just market risk or inflation you need to watch out for. It's the silent leaks in your plan that can do the most damage. So, how do you protect yourself? First, make sure you're running updated what-if scenarios every year, especially as new Social Security news emerges. Second, coordinate your withdrawal strategy across all your accounts, taxable, tax-deferred, and Roth, to minimize taxes and avoid costly Medicare premium surcharges. Third, stay vigilant against scams by never responding to unsolicited requests for information. And finally, review your estate plan and beneficiary designations every 2 years or whenever your circumstances change. I want you to know that you're not alone in facing these challenges. The most successful retirees I've worked with aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who catch them early and adjust their plans accordingly. That's why I always recommend building a team, a trusted financial advisor, an estate attorney, and even a tech-savvy family member who can help you spot red flags. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized advice. Your situation deserves a tailored approach. Let's recap what we've covered so far. We've identified 4 of the most expensive mistakes retirees make when preparing for Social Security cuts: failing to stress test your plan, using the wrong accounts for withdrawals, falling for scams, and neglecting estate plan updates. Each mistake comes with clear warning signs and can cost tens of thousands of dollars over time. But with awareness and proactive planning, you can sidestep these traps and keep your retirement on track. Now, once you've avoided these pitfalls, you're in a position to take advantage of advanced strategies that most people never learn. These are the techniques that can help you not only survive Social Security cuts, but actually optimize your retirement income for greater security and peace of mind. That's just the beginning. Here's where it gets really powerful. Part 5. Advanced Strategies and Optimization. Maximizing your income and minimizing taxes in a changing Social Security landscape. Now that you've learned to avoid the most expensive mistakes, let's move beyond the basics and into the advanced strategies, the very techniques that the most successful, financially secure retirees use to turn uncertainty into opportunity. In my 30-plus years of helping seniors navigate Social Security changes and volatile markets, I've seen firsthand how a few sophisticated moves can make the difference between just getting by and truly thriving in retirement. These are not get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, they are proven conservative approaches with decades of real-world success behind them. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before implementing these strategies, because your unique situation deserves a tailored approach. Let's start with a technique that many industry insiders quietly recommend to their wealthiest clients. Roth IRA conversion timing as a hedge against Social Security cuts. Here's how it works. If you're concerned about a future reduction in Social Security and you have significant funds in traditional IRAs or 401ks, converting some of those assets to a Roth IRA over the next few years can provide powerful protection. When you convert, you pay taxes now, at today's rates, on the amount you move into the Roth. But once those funds are in the Roth IRA, all future withdrawals are tax-free, and crucially, they don't count as income when calculating your Medicare premiums or the taxation of your Social Security benefits. Let's look at the numbers. Suppose you have $800,000 in traditional IRA accounts. If you convert $50,000 per year for the next 4 years, you'll pay taxes on $200,000 at current rates, potentially at the 22% federal bracket if your taxable income is under $190,750 for married couples in 2025. That's about $11,000 per year in federal taxes, but once the funds are in the Roth, you can withdraw them tax-free to fill any Social Security gap. If benefits are cut by 23% and you need to withdraw an extra $15,000 per year, having a Roth IRA means you can do so without bumping into a higher tax bracket or triggering Medicare IRMA surcharges, which can add $800 to $2,000 per year in premiums. Many retirees find that over a 10-year period, this strategy can save $20,000 or more in combined taxes and Medicare costs. The second advanced strategy is sequencing your withdrawals for maximum tax efficiency and portfolio longevity. The order in which you tap your accounts, taxable, tax-deferred, and Roth, can have a dramatic impact on how long your money lasts and how much you keep after taxes. Historically, many retirees have defaulted to pro rata withdrawals, taking a little from each account every year. But research and real-world experience show that a more nuanced approach can yield far better results. For example, early in retirement, you might draw primarily from your taxable brokerage account, allowing your IRAs and Roth IRAs to continue growing tax-deferred. This can keep your taxable income low, help you qualify for lower Medicare premiums, and even allow you to perform partial Roth conversions at a favorable rate. As you approach age 73, when required minimum distributions, RMDs, kick in, you can shift your withdrawal pattern to meet those obligations, but with a pool of Roth funds available for large, unexpected expenses or to cover a Social Security shortfall. The key is to run the numbers each year, looking at your tax bracket, Medicare thresholds, and expected expenses to decide which account to tap next. In my practice, I've seen retirees who follow a strategic withdrawal sequence extend their portfolio's longevity by up to 5 years and reduce lifetime taxes by $30,000 or more. The third sophisticated technique is leveraging qualified charitable distributions, QCDs, to offset both RMDs and Social Security taxation. If you're age 70 and a half or older and you have charitable intentions, you can direct up to $108,000 per year from your IRA directly to qualified charities. This amount counts toward your RMD but is excluded from your taxable income. Why does this matter? Because keeping your adjusted gross income lower can reduce the percentage of your Social Security benefits that are taxed, potentially saving $2,000 to $4,000 per year for charitable retirees. And it can help you avoid crossing the Medicare IRMA line. For retirees who are already giving to charity, this is a no-brainer. It's a way to support causes you care about while simultaneously optimizing your tax picture and protecting your Social Security income. Let's pause for a moment and recap. You've now learned how Roth conversions can create a tax-free income stream to replace lost Social Security, how strategic withdrawal sequencing can extend your savings and minimize taxes, and how QCDs can help you support your favorite charities while keeping more of your Social Security benefit. These are not theoretical ideas. They are the exact strategies that many affluent, conservative retirees use to weather policy changes and market volatility. Now, let's talk about the tax implications of these advanced moves. It's critical to understand that Roth conversions increase your taxable income in the year you convert, which could impact your Medicare premiums and the taxation of your Social Security for that year. That's why timing is everything. Many retirees find that the best window for Roth conversions is between retirement and age 73, before required minimum distributions begin. During these years, your income may be lower, allowing you to convert at a lower tax rate. The most successful retirees coordinate these moves with their tax advisor every fall, running projections to avoid unpleasant surprises. With withdrawal sequencing, the main tax consideration is to avoid bracket creep, accidentally pushing yourself into a higher tax bracket or triggering higher Medicare premiums. This is why annual reviews are so important. If you're charitably inclined, QCDs offer a rare win-win. You satisfy your RMD, lower your taxable income, and potentially reduce the portion of your Social Security that's taxed. Let me share a brief success story. A couple in their late 60s came to me with $1 million in traditional IRAs, $300,000 in Roth IRAs, and $200,000 in taxable accounts. By carefully converting $40,000 per year to Roth for 5 years, sequencing their withdrawals to keep taxable income below $212,000, and using QCDs to support their church, they reduced their lifetime tax bill by more than $60,000 and kept their Medicare premiums at the lowest level. When Social Security headlines grew dire, they had the flexibility to withdraw from their Roth to cover any gap, tax-free and without fear of penalty. As you can see, the key to success is getting your timing exactly right. Each of these advanced strategies requires careful planning and annual adjustments. But for those who take the time to optimize, the rewards can be substantial: more after-tax income, lower healthcare costs, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've done everything possible to protect your retirement. So far, we've covered the advanced tools that can help you weather Social Security cuts and even come out ahead. But how do you put all these pieces together into a timeline you can actually follow? When should you make each move? And what deadlines do you need to watch for? Timing is crucial. Here's exactly when to take each step to secure your retirement. Part 6. Implementation Timeline and Sequence, your 90-day roadmap to Social Security security. Let's take everything we've discussed so far: the Social Security buffer, smart withdrawal sequencing, Roth conversions, and tax-efficient strategies, and put it into a clear, actionable timeline. In my 30-plus years of guiding retirees through volatile times and changing regulations, I've found that a well-structured action plan is the single best antidote to uncertainty. When you know exactly what to do in the next 30, 60, and 90 days, you move from feeling anxious about Social Security cuts to feeling empowered and prepared. As always, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Your unique circumstances matter, so consult a qualified financial advisor before making changes. Let's begin with the first 30 days. This is your assessment and preparation phase. Start by gathering all your financial documents, recent Social Security statements, IRA, and 401k balances, Roth IRA and brokerage account summaries, and your most recent tax return. If you're married, include your spouse's information as well. Next, update your monthly essential expenses: housing, food, healthcare, insurance, and transportation. Be thorough and realistic. In my experience, most retirees underestimate expenses by 10% to 15%, so err on the side of caution. Once you have your expense figure, calculate your projected Social Security benefit after a 23% cut. For example, if you currently expect $2,600 per month, plan for $2,002. Multiply this by 12 for your new annual benefit. Subtract this from your annual essential expenses to determine your income gap. Let me repeat that. Your income gap is the amount you'll need to replace if a cut happens. Still, in the first 30 days, review your current emergency fund and liquid savings. Is it enough to cover at least 12 months of your income gap? If not, set a target, perhaps $12,000 to $24,000, depending on your needs, and make a plan to gradually move funds into a high-yield savings account or money market fund. Don't rush. The key is to start building your buffer now before headlines force you to make decisions under pressure. Also, schedule a meeting with your financial advisor, or if you don't have one, begin interviewing candidates. Look for someone with credentials like CFP or CHFC and at least 10 years of experience working with retirees. The sooner you get expert eyes on your plan, the more options you'll have. Moving into the 31 to 60-day window, it's time to focus on strategy and optimization. Review your withdrawal plan in detail. Map out which accounts you'll tap first if Social Security is cut. For many retirees, this means prioritizing taxable accounts, then tax-deferred, then Roth. But every situation is different. Run what-if scenarios. What happens if you need to withdraw an extra $1,000 per month for 5 years? What if the market is down when you need to draw on your buffer? If you're considering Roth conversions, this is the time to run projections. Many retirees find that converting $25,000 to $50,000 per year during low-income years between retirement and age 73 can save thousands in lifetime taxes. But timing matters. Roth conversions must be completed by December 31st of each year to count for that tax year. Mark this date on your calendar and coordinate with your advisor to avoid last-minute mistakes. During this 31 to 60-day period, review your Medicare situation. If you're approaching age 65, enroll in Medicare Parts A and B during your initial enrollment period, which begins 3 months before your 65th birthday and ends 3 months after. Missing this window can result in lifelong penalties. If you're already on Medicare, review your Part D and Medicare Advantage plans during the annual open enrollment period, October 15th to December 7th. Rising premiums can erode your buffer, so shop around for the best value. Also, check your beneficiary designations on all accounts, IRAs, 401ks, life insurance, to ensure they're up to date. This small step can prevent costly legal battles and unintended tax consequences for your heirs. Now let's talk about the 61 to 90-day phase, which is your implementation and review window. By now, you should have a clear understanding of your income gap, a growing Social Security buffer, and a withdrawal plan that's coordinated across all accounts. If you haven't already, automate your savings transfers into your buffer account. Set up monthly or biweekly contributions to reach your target within 6 to 12 months. If you're executing a Roth conversion, complete the paperwork and ensure the funds are moved before December 31st. Double-check with your advisor or tax professional to verify the tax impact and avoid surprises at filing time. This is also the time to update your estate plan. Meet with your attorney to review your will, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives. If your withdrawal plan or Social Security assumptions have changed, your estate plan should reflect those updates. If you're charitably inclined, discuss qualified charitable distributions, QCDs, with your advisor to satisfy required minimum distributions, RMDs, in a tax-efficient way. And if you have children or grandchildren you wish to help, consider whether a gift or a 529 college savings plan contribution fits into your overall strategy. Throughout this 90-day process, set calendar reminders for critical deadlines. For example, Medicare open enrollment ends December 7th. Roth conversions must be completed by December 31st. RMDs for those age 73 and older must also be taken by year-end to avoid a 25% penalty on missed distributions. If you're planning to claim Social Security, know that you can apply up to 4 months before you want benefits to start. Missing a deadline can cost you thousands in lost benefits or unnecessary taxes. Let's pause and recap your 90-day roadmap. First 30 days. Gather documents, update expenses, calculate your Social Security gap, build your buffer target, and engage a qualified advisor. Next 31 to 60 days. Optimize withdrawal strategy, run tax and Roth conversion projections, review Medicare and beneficiary designations. Final 61 to 90 days. Implement savings automation, complete conversions, update estate plan, and set reminders for critical deadlines. If you follow this timeline, you'll be among the minority of retirees who are truly prepared, not just for Social Security cuts, but for any financial curveball that comes your way. In my experience, the retirees who approach their plan in 90-day windows are the ones who feel most confident, most in control, and most resilient when the unexpected happens. But even with the best-laid plans, you might encounter unexpected roadblocks. Maybe the market drops just as you need to make a withdrawal. Perhaps a health issue disrupts your timeline, or a new law changes the rules overnight. The real key to lasting security is not just planning for what you expect, but knowing how to troubleshoot when things don't go according to plan. Even if you follow this perfectly, you might encounter these common roadblocks, and here's exactly how to solve them. Part 7. Troubleshooting and Problem Solving. Overcoming the most common retirement roadblocks. Now that you have a clear 90-day roadmap for protecting your retirement from Social Security cuts, let's get real about the unexpected. In my 30-plus years of guiding retirees through both smooth and stormy waters, I've learned that the best-laid plans can hit bumps along the way. It's not about avoiding every challenge. It's about knowing how to respond quickly and wisely when those challenges arise. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. For your unique situation, always consult a qualified financial advisor. Let's dive into some of the most common what-if scenarios that can derail even the most carefully crafted retirement plan, and more importantly, the solutions that have helped thousands of seniors like you stay on track. The first roadblock many retirees encounter is market downturns just when you need to tap your buffer or investments. Picture this. You've set aside a 2-year Social Security buffer in a combination of high-yield savings and short-term bonds, but a sudden market drop erodes the value of your broader investment portfolio. You're worried about selling at a loss to cover your monthly expenses. Here's what I tell my clients. The key is to structure your buffer so it's truly insulated from market swings. That means keeping at least 12 to 24 months of your income gap, say $24,000 to $48,000, in FDIC-insured savings, money market funds, or short-term U.S. Treasuries. If you need to draw funds during a downturn, you can rely on this safe pool while allowing your stocks and longer-term investments time to recover. Historically, markets rebound within 2 to 5 years after a significant drop, so having a dedicated buffer prevents you from locking in losses. If you find your buffer running low during a prolonged downturn, consider temporarily reducing discretionary spending, delaying a big trip, or pausing large gifts until your investments recover. The most successful retirees I've worked with always have a pause button for non-essentials, so their core needs are never at risk. Another common challenge is unexpected healthcare expenses or a sudden increase in Medicare premiums. Even with the best planning, a health event can throw your budget off course. For example, a hospital stay or new prescription could raise your annual out-of-pocket costs by $5,000 or more. Or your income from Roth conversions or investment gains could unintentionally push you into a higher Medicare IRMA bracket, increasing your premiums by hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year. Here's how to troubleshoot. First, always build a healthcare cushion into your buffer, ideally 10% to 15% above your estimated income gap. If your annual gap is $18,000, set aside an extra $1,800 to $2,700 for medical surprises. Second, monitor your modified adjusted gross income, MAGI, each year. If you're close to a Medicare threshold, for example, $106,000 for single filers or $206,000 for married couples in 2025, coordinate with your advisor before taking large withdrawals or Roth conversions. Sometimes spreading a conversion over 2 years or taking a smaller withdrawal in December and another in January can keep you below the premium cliff. If you do get hit with a higher premium due to a one-time event, like selling a house, you can appeal the IRMA surcharge using Social Security Form SSA 44, especially if your income drops the following year. A third roadblock is changes in tax laws or Social Security rules that alter your plan midstream. Congress may pass new legislation that changes tax brackets, raises the age for required minimum distributions, or modifies how Social Security benefits are calculated. I've seen retirees blindsided by sudden changes, like the Secure Act raising the RMD age, or proposals to tax more of Social Security for higher-income households. The solution? Build flexibility into your plan. Meet with your advisor at least annually, ideally every fall before year-end deadlines, to review any new laws and adjust your withdrawal and conversion strategies accordingly. If new rules increase your taxes or reduce your benefits, you may need to shift more assets into Roth IRAs, increase your buffer, or adjust your gifting and estate plans. The retirees who fare best are those who treat their plan as a living document, one that evolves with the rules, not a set-it-and-forget-it checklist. Let's address one more what-if scenario, having to help adult children or grandchildren during a financial emergency. Many retirees find themselves unexpectedly supporting family, whether it's a child losing a job, a grandchild needing tuition help, or even co-signing a loan. These generous acts can drain your buffer or force you to take larger withdrawals from retirement accounts, risking your own security. Here's my advice based on decades of watching families navigate these situations. Before making a large gift or loan, revisit your income gap and buffer. Ask yourself, will this gift jeopardize my ability to cover my own essentials if Social Security is cut? If the answer is yes, consider offering non-financial support, like helping with job searches or budgeting, or setting a clear capped amount that won't threaten your own security. The most resilient retirees communicate openly with family about their boundaries, explaining that their first responsibility is to their own long-term needs. If you do decide to help, coordinate with your advisor to minimize tax consequences, for example, by using the annual gift tax exclusion, $17,000 per recipient in 2025, or making tuition payments directly to a school which are not subject to gift tax. Let's recap the troubleshooting tools we've covered so far. For market downturns, keep your buffer in safe, liquid accounts and temporarily adjust discretionary spending if needed. For healthcare shocks or Medicare premium jumps, add a medical cushion to your buffer and coordinate withdrawals to avoid IRMA cliffs. For tax and Social Security law changes, review your plan annually and stay flexible, updating strategies as new rules emerge. For unexpected family support, set boundaries and make gifts or loans in a way that doesn't undermine your own security. Remember, the most successful retirees aren't those who avoid every problem. They're the ones who have a plan for when problems arise. In my experience, those who build in these troubleshooting circuit breakers sleep better at night, knowing they can weather the storm without panic or regret. So far, you've learned how to anticipate and solve the most common retirement roadblocks. You now have the foundation, the buffer, the advanced tax strategies, and the troubleshooting tools to face Social Security cuts with confidence. But once you master this foundation, you're ready for the next level. optimizing your plan not just to survive, but to thrive, even as conditions change. Once you master this foundation, you're ready for the next level, where you can truly maximize your retirement security and legacy. Part 8. Next Level Actions and Optimization. Maximizing your retirement security and legacy. You've come a long way. By now, you understand the risks of Social Security cuts. You've built a buffer, optimized your withdrawal and tax strategies, and learned how to troubleshoot the most common retirement roadblocks. But what if you want to go beyond just protecting yourself? What if you want to truly maximize your retirement income, ensure your money lasts, and create a legacy that benefits your loved ones for generations? In my 30-plus years of helping affluent retirees, I've found that the most secure and satisfied clients are those who take their planning to the next level. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor for your unique situation. Let's talk about advanced optimization, how to scale your strategies and fine-tune your plan for both maximum income and long-term peace of mind. First, consider dynamic withdrawal strategies. Many retirees use a fixed withdrawal rate, such as the classic 4% rule. But industry insiders know that adjusting your withdrawals based on market performance and your actual spending needs can dramatically extend the life of your portfolio. For example, in years when your investments perform well, you might withdraw a bit more, perhaps 4.5% or 5%, to enjoy travel or family experiences. In years when the market is down, you scale back to 3%, or even just cover essentials from your buffer. Historically, this flexible approach has allowed retirees to weather even the toughest markets without running out of money. The most successful retirees I've worked with review their withdrawal rate annually, often with their advisor, to ensure they're not overspending when times are tough or underspending when they can afford to enjoy life. Second, it's time to leverage advanced tax-efficient giving and estate planning. If you have substantial assets, you can use tools like donor-advised funds, DAFs, or charitable remainder trusts, CRTs, to maximize your charitable impact while reducing your taxable estate. For example, by contributing appreciated stock to a DAF, you avoid capital gains taxes and can take an immediate tax deduction, then recommend grants to your favorite charities over time. CRTs allow you to receive income for life while ultimately benefiting a cause you care about, and can even provide a partial tax deduction up front. For many retirees, these vehicles can mean tens of thousands in tax savings while supporting their legacy. On the family side, advanced estate planning techniques like qualified terminable interest property, QTIP, trusts, irrevocable life insurance trusts, ILITs, and strategic gifting can help ensure your wealth passes efficiently to heirs, minimizing taxes and probate costs. For example, using the annual gift tax exclusion, $17,000 per recipient in 2025, you can gradually transfer significant assets to your children or grandchildren during your lifetime, reducing your taxable estate and seeing the impact of your generosity. The most successful retirees regularly review their estate plans every 2 to 3 years, especially as laws and family circumstances change. Third, think about long-term income scaling through annuities and laddered income products. While annuities are not right for everyone, certain types, such as immediate fixed annuities or deferred income annuities, can provide guaranteed income streams that aren't affected by market swings or Social Security cuts. For example, allocating $200,000 to a deferred income annuity at age 65 could provide an additional $1,200 to $1,500 per month starting at age 75, helping to offset inflation or late-life care costs. The key is to focus on low-cost, reputable providers and to avoid products with high fees or complex riders you don't understand. In my experience, the wealthiest retirees use annuities as one piece of a diversified income plan, not as a replacement for their entire portfolio. Another next-level move is tax bracket management and Roth conversion scaling. As your income and tax brackets shift over time, periodically reassessing your Roth conversion strategy can yield major benefits. For example, if Congress raises tax rates or changes how Social Security is taxed, accelerating conversions in lower tax years could save you tens of thousands in future taxes. Likewise, if you anticipate a large required minimum distribution, RMD, at age 73 or 75, converting more in your late 60s can smooth out your taxable income and help you avoid Medicare IRMA surcharges. The most sophisticated retirees track their projected tax brackets 5 to 10 years out, often with the help of a tax professional, to make proactive, not reactive, decisions. Let's not forget about legacy and multi-generational planning. If leaving a lasting impact is important to you, consider setting up family meetings to share your financial values and intentions. Many retirees find that involving their children or grandchildren in the planning process not only prevents future misunderstandings, but also teaches the next generation how to be good stewards of inherited wealth. Some even establish family foundations or educational funds, creating a legacy of giving and opportunity. For those with substantial real estate or business holdings, advanced planning, like creating a family limited partnership, FLP, or a revocable living trust, can help manage assets efficiently and provide for heirs with minimal legal hurdles. The key is to ensure all assets are properly titled and beneficiary designations are up to date, so nothing is left to chance. Finally, let's address long-term care and inflation protection. Healthcare and assisted living costs can rise sharply, especially in your 80s and 90s. Consider hybrid long-term care insurance policies that combine life insurance with long-term care benefits, or earmark a portion of your portfolio in inflation-protected securities like TIPS, Treasury inflation-protected securities. Even a modest allocation, say $50,000 to $108,000, can provide a safety net against rising costs, preserving your buffer and giving you greater peace of mind. Let's recap the next-level actions we've covered. Dynamic withdrawal strategies to make your money last in all markets. Advanced tax-efficient giving and estate planning for legacy and tax savings. Income scaling with annuities and laddered products for guaranteed, inflation-resistant income. Tax bracket management and Roth conversion scaling to minimize future taxes and Medicare costs. Multi-generational planning to pass on your values and wealth efficiently. Long-term care and inflation protection to safeguard your future needs. The most successful retirees I know are not those who simply react to change, but those who anticipate it and optimize their plans accordingly. They use every tool available: tax law, investment strategies, estate planning, and family education, to build a retirement that's not only secure, but deeply fulfilling. As we look ahead, remember, your retirement is not a static event, but a dynamic journey. The strategies you set in motion today will need to evolve as your life, your family, and the world changes. Annual reviews, open communication with your advisor and loved ones, and a willingness to adapt are your greatest assets. That's the power of next-level planning. You've built a strong foundation. Now it's time to optimize, scale, and create a legacy that lasts. What I'm about to share next will surprise even experienced investors, because there's one overlooked opportunity that could transform your retirement security in ways most people never imagine. Over the past hour, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground together, much more than most retirees ever receive in a single sitting. We began with a sobering reality check about the looming Social Security shortfall and the very real possibility of a 23% cut to your benefits if Congress doesn't act soon. We examined the specific financial challenges that could impact your retirement security, from income gaps to tax traps, and the ripple effects on Medicare, legacy, and your lifestyle. You learned the 8 essential insights: understanding the Social Security funding crisis, calculating your true income gap, building a Social Security buffer, optimizing withdrawal and tax strategies, avoiding costly mistakes, implementing advanced techniques like Roth conversions and QCDs, following a precise 90-day action timeline, and troubleshooting real-world roadblocks. This wasn't just entertainment. This was valuable financial education, the kind that could save you tens of thousands of dollars, protect your family's future, and give you peace of mind in uncertain times. The knowledge you've gained here represents decades of experience distilled into practical, step-by-step guidance. Wisdom I've seen work for thousands of retirees across market cycles and policy changes. Now that you understand each piece, let's bring it all together. Here's the master integration, the one insight that ties everything into a cohesive, powerful strategy. True retirement security comes from proactive planning, not passive hope. When you combine a well-funded Social Security buffer, tax-smart withdrawal sequencing, and dynamic annual reviews, you create a compound effect that shields you from policy shocks and market swings. For example, a retiree who builds a 2-year buffer of $36,000, coordinates Roth conversions to minimize taxes, and reviews their plan every fall can often preserve $50,000 to $100,000 more over a 10-year retirement than someone who simply waits and sees. This is why wealthy retirees often outperform those who started with more capital but lacked a strategy. They anticipate, adapt, and optimize. In my decades of helping retirees optimize their finances, I've seen firsthand how these integrated steps transform anxiety into confidence and uncertainty into opportunity. Let me emphasize this important point. What separates financially secure retirees from those who struggle is usually knowledge and implementation, not luck or timing. So, what should you do right now? Here are the 4 immediate action steps you can take over the next 30 days to move from worry to control. Step 1. Assessment phase, first week. Start by gathering your 3 essential documents: your latest Social Security statement, your most recent tax return, and current account balances, IRA, 401k, Roth, and brokerage. Next, calculate your essential monthly expenses using a simple spreadsheet or budgeting tool: housing, food, insurance, healthcare, and transportation. Then estimate your projected Social Security benefit after a 23% cut. For example, $2,000 monthly becomes $1,540. Identify your biggest opportunity area. Is it building a buffer, tax planning, or updating your withdrawal strategy? Step 2. Planning phase, second week. Create your personalized timeline based on your age, retirement goals, and potential Social Security claiming date. Research the specific strategies discussed, like Roth conversions, QCDs, or annuities that apply to your situation. Document your current withdrawal plan and compare it to the tax-efficient sequencing we covered. If you're charitably inclined, look into setting up a donor-advised fund or exploring QCDs for your RMDs. Step 3. Professional consultation, third week. Schedule a meeting with a qualified financial advisor, ideally someone with a CFP or CHFC credential and experience guiding retirees through Social Security and tax planning. Bring these questions. How would a 23% Social Security cut affect my plan? What's the best withdrawal sequence for my accounts? Should I consider Roth conversions this year? Verify that your advisor understands the advanced strategies we discussed and ask for a written action plan. If you don't have an estate attorney or tax professional, this is the week to start building your team. Step 4. Implementation begins, fourth week. Start with the lowest risk, highest impact change, perhaps automating savings into your Social Security buffer or updating your beneficiary designations. Set up the accounts or systems needed for your new strategy, such as a high-yield savings account for your buffer or initiating your Roth conversion paperwork. Begin tracking your progress monthly. Use a simple dashboard or checklist to monitor expenses, buffer growth, and withdrawal sources. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Small, consistent steps compound over time. As you move forward, remember, every financial strategy carries some level of risk. The goal isn't perfection, it's optimization based on your unique circumstances. Most successful retirees implement these changes gradually over 6 to 12 months, adjusting as life and markets evolve. Don't let perfectionism or analysis paralysis prevent you from starting with small improvements. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They're proven, long-term strategies that have helped thousands of families maintain security and dignity through every kind of economic environment. Let me emphasize, what works for one person may not be optimal for another. Always consult with qualified financial, tax, and legal professionals before making significant changes. Tax implications can change with new legislation, and past performance of any strategy doesn't guarantee future results. You're now part of a community of informed retirees who refuse to settle for average or accept uncertainty as fate. The journey to financial optimization is ongoing. Markets change, laws evolve, and new opportunities arise. Continue your education by staying up to date with retirement planning developments, participating in trusted forums, and sharing your success stories. Your children and grandchildren will benefit from the wise choices you make today, and your experience and discipline are your greatest assets. If you've already implemented one of these strategies, share your experience in the comments below. Your story can inspire and guide others. And if you're just starting, know that you're not alone. Thousands of seniors are taking these same steps, building resilience and confidence together. If this video helped clarify your retirement planning strategy, please give it a thumbs up. It helps more seniors find this essential information. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments. Which strategy will you implement first, or what surprised you most about the Social Security changes? Subscribe for more in-depth retirement guidance that could save you thousands and help protect your legacy. Most importantly, take action on what you've learned. Your future self and your family will thank you. The cost of inaction is often far greater than the cost of making informed, incremental improvements. You'll know you're on the right track when your financial stress decreases and you have clear answers to the questions that used to keep you awake at night. Remember, this has been educational content designed to inform your decision-making. Every individual's financial situation is unique. What works for one may not be right for another. Always consult with qualified financial, tax, and estate professionals before making significant changes. While this information provides a strong foundation, professional guidance is invaluable for customizing these strategies to your needs and ensuring compliance with current laws. And as always, tax implications may change based on future legislation. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've optimized every aspect of your retirement finances. Sleep better tonight with a plan in place. Protect your family's future, maintain your independence, and leave a legacy of wisdom and security. You've worked too hard to accept anything less than the best for your golden years. Thank you for investing your time and trust. Your journey to a more secure, resilient retirement starts now, one actionable step at a time.